Hello, everyone sitting in today for today's webinar covering how Payroll for Construction can handle union-specific payroll for my union contractors out there. My name is Alex Gray. I'll be the host of the webinar here today. We still have some people filing in here. Looks like we got a decent crowd that has joined us so far, but we're going to give the rest of our attendees here a few moments to join. Also, one thing that I will note is everyone is in a listen-only mode for today's webinar, but if you see on your bar for the webinar control panel, feel free to go ahead and throw any questions that you may have for me in the questions box of the webinar here, and I'll be happy to answer anything that comes up for our attendees here. But thanks again, everyone, for taking the time to join here today for us, and we'll get things started here in a few moments. Hello to those who have joined us here for today's webinar covering how Payroll for Construction can handle that union payroll for our union contractors out there. Again, my name is Alex Gray here. I'll be the host of today's webinar. Looks like we still have a few attendees that are filing in here. Wanted to come on and just give the note that we'll still wait for everyone to get logged in here, and we'll be started with today's webinar here in a moment. All right, so it looks like we have most of our attendees have joined us here today. So again, my name here, Alex Gray, one of the regional sales managers here at Payroll for Construction. Going to be walking you through our union-focused webinar here today, discussing how Payroll for Construction can handle that complex union payroll for my union contractors out there. So what I'll do here is I'll bring up my contact information. Feel free to write this down if anyone is interested in reaching out for a personalized one-on-one demonstration after today's webinar of Payroll for Construction. Shoot me an email, give me a call here at any time. I'll also bring up my contact information again here towards the end of the webinar here today. And another note I have for attendees that were late arrivals here is with today's webinar, you will realize that you are in a listen-only mode for the audience, where you do have a questions box where feel free to go ahead, throw any questions that may come up during the discussion here today in that questions box, and I'll go ahead and get those answered as needed there. So, but without further ado, we'll go ahead and get things started here. So meet Payroll for Construction. So who we are, what we do. We're a standalone payroll service for contractors, where we're going to be an online payroll service provider just for the construction industry. Web-based internet access, go ahead, log into your online payroll portal. And with our team, we're processing payroll in all 50 states. But what makes us different than other payroll service providers out there is we only are working in the construction industry. So our team specializes in those with union, government, prevailing wage payroll, or for today's focus, my union contractors that have that complex union payroll where we got to pay our guys a set amount of rates for the trades that they're working us per that union contract, as well as track all those union benefits, those deductions, fringes. So today, during the webinar today, I'll go ahead and show you guys how our system can help automate, track this complex payroll items for you. And again, our team here only dealing with those construction payrolls. But also with this, we're still at our core going to be a traditional payroll service provider. We're going to pay your employees via check or direct deposit, handle the tax filings and payments, but as well as our system's going to automate reports like certified payroll, union, EEO, minority compliance reporting, as well as job cost reports, all going to be automated and included in the charge of being a Payroll for Construction client here. And what else makes us different here is we're powered by foundation software with over 35 years of experience in the construction industry. Now, on this webinar here today, I may have some current foundation accounting users here in the audience. For those that aren't familiar with foundation software, we are a sister company of Foundation here at Payroll for Construction. Foundation is a full job cost ERP accounting software, whereas our payroll service, my next point here, can directly integrate with that Foundation accounting package. Or, like it says at the top, we can also stand alone. We can be a standalone payroll service that integrates with my contractors that are using QuickBooks, Sage, other accounting packages out there in their office, where those that are Foundation clients on the call here today, as I go through this discussion, you're going to realize that, hey, with Payroll for Construction, we're built directly into the payroll module of that Foundation accounting system. But if you're only using us for the payroll service, you're going to be accessing a watered down version of Foundation. So again, once I jump into the database today, if there's any Foundation clients on the call, you're going to see that you already have the full power of the payroll module that Payroll for Construction offers, but we can add the payroll service on to that accounting system where we'll pay your employees via check or direct deposit, as well as handle all tax filings and payments weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually when it comes to the actual payroll tax filings and payments. But also, again, for those that are using QuickBooks, Sage, other accounting programs, we can directly integrate with your current accounting package in the office there. So next slide here. So what we do here at Payroll for Construction. So again, we're going to have that construction specific reporting available inside the database there. So my contractors that are working across multiple states, or even my contractors that are working in states like Ohio, Kentucky, where we have multiple localities that our employees can work at, have 3, 4, multiple different taxing jurisdictions that they're working under. Our system is going to be able to automate the tracking of these taxes, the jurisdictions, the states, localities that we're working in for our employees, and automate what's going on with that tracking. And as your payroll service provider, we will handle the tax filings and payments to those entities. That next point here, we're going to automate pay rates for prevailing wage, as well as the pay rates needed to then pay out to our employees working under that union contract, where on the employee record, we're able to set up a private commercial rate. But once I jump into the system here later on today, you're going to see that we'll have separate pay rate tables that we can then tie to a job record and say, hey, this is a union job. Hey, this is a prevailing wage job, where we're going to automate the assigning of the corresponding rate of pay for our employees. And we'll also be able to timestamp these tables with effective dates. So if, hey, on July 1st of this year, per that union contract, everyone's going to be getting a small raise on that pay rate, maybe those benefits there as well, you can timestamp that with an effective date. So then once that hits inside the system, your team isn't going to have to worry that this all gets changed over manually there. The system's going to automate the process for you, do the legwork as your payroll system. And also going to be able to track that benefits information, fringe calculations, deductions, what's going on per that union contract with those union benefits, as well as also set up your workers' compensation policy inside that system. Can even have it broken out by the type of work being performed, get those classes set up. And our team can also set up caps to what's ultimately being exposed to the workers' compensation policy, have a nice report that we can run to then see where we stand when it comes to our workers' comp. On the next one here, still going hand in hand with that construction specific reporting. So the system is then going to automate the creation of certified payroll reports, going to have state, city, government entity specific formats available inside the system for our print formats, as well as any contractors out there that are working with electronic uploads for certifieds, the LCP tracker, Asheware, EMARS, the California DIR, going to be able to automate the creation of the file for those electronic uploads. You log in online to the certified payroll portal, you upload that file, your certified has been created by your payroll system for you. No more manual creation of our certifieds here. It's going to be the same exact case for any union reports, minority compliance, EEO reports, job labor, burden cost reports. That's my union contractors here. We're going to then give you the training on how to set up and manage the union tables with pay rates as well as union benefits tracking inside your system. Once that information is set up, as you start coding time into the system for your payroll runs, the system is going to automatically track where you stand per that union contract that has been set up inside your payroll system, automate the calculations of the tracking of all union information, then have a nice union report that can be generated come month end. You PDF, pull that report outside the system, cut the check. We'll tell you what you need to pay to your union with the full breakdown of what went into the bottom line there. Again, also, like I mentioned, we're going to be able to set up that workers' compensation policy, have a nice report that'll be generated. It can be broken out to show where we stand with workers' comp. Then also, too, any contractors out there that may have a 401k, HSA vendor that we're working with for maybe our office staff or other employees on our team there, we'll also be able to set up that deduction, have that amount automatically withheld, where you run a report, see where you stand where it comes to that 401k, HSA information, send that off to your vendor of the reporting of those deductions there, as well as also be able to handle any court-ordered garnishments, child support, alimony, tax garnishments, withhold the amount, and our team can also send off the garnishment information where it needs to go as your payroll provider. Then slide 3 here. So at our core, we're still going to be able to handle those traditional payroll service items. So we're going to pay the employees via check or direct deposit. We're going to then pay your tax filings and make those payments. The weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual tax filings and payments can handle any federal, state, local authorities, FUTA and SUTA, as well as come year end, handle the filing and distribution of employee W-2s. With Payroll for Construction here, those that don't go live in the first of the year with us, if you go live, let's say 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, take clients live in the first of any month here, where we'll make sure that all payroll history, what has been done so far by your team this year, is up to date inside your system before we ever take you live, so that employees only receive one W-2 from Payroll for Construction come year end. Then what else makes us different here? So again, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a direct integration with whatever accounting package that you're currently utilizing in your office. So QuickBooks, we're going to be built directly into that foundation accounting package for those that are foundation clients on the call here, or maybe there are some looking into that current foundation accounting system there as well. And also be able to integrate with Sage and other accounting programs out there. Again, if you're interested in holding a more in-depth conversation to see how we would integrate with your system, be happy to discuss that during a one-on-one demonstration of the service here. But with Payroll for Construction, again, our only focus here is construction. We have a staff of professionals experienced with construction payroll. The Payroll for Construction tax and support team is our team trained in-house only on our system. They are going to be dealing day in and day out with those complex union payrolls that your team is running in the office. they'll be able to assist when questions come up with that database, or if you need assistance, again, with what's going on with a certain item in payroll there. And also here, I'm gonna see that we have a time card import feature. So Payroll4Construction does offer our own mobile application for field time card entry, but if you're currently utilizing a mobile application for your team there, maybe you're using About Time, Exact Time, Raken, some other mobile application out there in the market, we can create a time card import where we pull the file out of your current time card system, you import it into the Payroll4Construction, your hours have then been uploaded, don't need to make a bunch of changes there for our field employees. Then also for our employees, we're going to offer an online stub portal for the employees to be able to log in, retrieve their pay stubs electronically, and then also those that are also receiving a live check will be able to mail those checks to the office for distribution, as well as if you wanted to print checks in-house, could also print any live checks in-house with our service here. So what I'm going to do next here is I'm going to go ahead and jump into my payroll system. So what everyone is seeing here now is the home dashboard for Payroll4Construction. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning of my conversation here today, in the top right corner, it's going to say Foundation Software. That's again, because the payroll service here is built on Foundation's full job cost ERP accounting software, where we're utilizing that powerful payroll module of the accounting system. And with your payroll service here, again, no matter if you're directly integrating this into Foundation or what you're seeing here, having this stand alone, then we'll integrate with that QuickBooks package, Sage, whatever accounting package you're working with in your office. Our team's going to go ahead and start you with a blank database that we'll build from the ground up to only house the information that your team needs when it comes to your payroll runs. And with here today, going to focus specifically on how we're going to handle those complex union payrolls inside of our system. So one of the first places that your implementation specialist of Payroll4Construction would start is inside the payroll maintenance module here, where we'll go ahead, we'll pull your employees out of your current system. We have data extraction specialists that then pull that list out. We can import that list of employees into the system. So we're not going through keying in all this information for employee setup, have a large list of information we can bring in at once where we'll get those employees set up. We'll also set up that workers' compensation policy, have that broken out by the different types of classes, the different types of work that's being performed by our team here. But the big thing here on the payroll maintenance is the portion here at the bottom that has that construction specific language for union prevailing wage, or with today's focus, my union work. So behind the scenes, we're going to have separate pay rate tables where our team will give you the training on how to set up and manage your union tables inside the system, where whatever union you're working with, if we're working with one union, multiple unions, does not matter. Payroll4Construction can work with any union located in all 50 states, and unlimited number of union tables can be set up inside the system, where you go ahead, list out the trades, and also list out what my employees are supposed to be paid per that union contract. And again, the big thing to keep in mind with our tables here is we can timestamp these with an effective date. So for my example here, hey, the first of this year, here's my set rates of pay for my types of work being performed, my trades for my employees here per that union contract. Then on July 1st, everything for our example is going to go up $1 here. You can come in at any point in time, enter that updated union contract information, timestamp it with the upcoming effective date. So once then that hits inside the system, no matter if it's at the beginning of a payroll run, in the middle of a payroll run, does not matter. The system is going to then look at that effective date, update the rates of pay for our employees, would even timestamp that changed rate of pay on the employee's pay stub for them to review, do the legwork, automate it for you. So we're not going through manually updating each individual employee's rate of pay. This table will catch them all in one fell swoop for us. Then also going hand in hand with that union pay rate table, our union benefits, tracking those deductions, fringes, what we're being required to pay per that union contract, and also withhold. So inside the system, again, we'll give you the training on how to manage these union tables inside the system here, where, hey, whatever union I'm working with here, no matter if all trades are being calculated the same here, or If we need to get down to these calculations on a trade by trade basis per our union setup, our team will hold that conversation during implementation of what type of payroll your team's experiencing, and we'll get it set up, assist with you, show you how that training, give you the training on how to get this set up for you. So once you guys are live, you can manage this moving forward easily for your team, automate that process where mark it as whether the benefit here is a deduction or a fringe. Then we'll go ahead and set up those benefits with the codes, give them the naming convention that your team needs to familiarize yourself with each benefit that we're tracking here. Then also set up how it's being calculated here based on hours worked, hours paid, is it a percentage or a fixed amount. The rate it needs to be paid can also then control how it's taxed, can even set up limits to what's going on per our union benefits that we're tracking here, and as well as, again, be able to then timestamp this with an effective date. So if anything changes at any point in the year, we can then enter that new information, you timestamp it with that effective date. So once that hits inside the system updates every employee that's being touched by that union in one entry. You're not going to have to go through and manually update each of our employees here. Then also too with the copy rows, so if you're setting up multiple new tables, dealing with multiple unions, very easy for us to copy current setups where, hey, I need to add a new union table here. Maybe we're going to be working with Union 98 for my example. You can then go ahead and copy those rows, easily set up and copy what was being brought over from a previous union setup there. All right, so when payroll maintenance here has been completed, then so also with those that are utilizing separate accounting packages here in their office with the payroll service, we would want you to set up your job names and numbers inside the database here, how they appear inside your current QuickBooks accounting package, Sage accounting package, does not matter. We just, again, want that to be set up how it appears here, where once I'm in the job record, a few items for my payroll clients to keep in mind for the job record here. So within the system, you're going to see that a large number of fields for me to enter information for when it comes to my jobs. But with you guys only using us for payroll here, again, the main thing to keep in mind, job name and number to be set up how it appears inside your current accounting package. Letters, numbers, dashes, numerics does not matter there. We'll be able to handle it here at Payroll4Construction. Then also, if we're working across multiple states where this job is taking place here. For my example, if I have any Maryland contractors there in the audience, we have a number of localities there in Maryland, go ahead, tie in the corresponding taxing table that we need for this job here. The multi-state contractors out there, we'll get that system built to track the taxing information that you need for the states that we're performing work in for your team. Then also too, hey, is this a certified job? Do we need a certified payroll report generated here? Simply turn this checkbox on, opened up to any one of our certified payroll electronic, as well as our certified payroll print formats inside the system here. Now, the last thing to keep in mind here on the job record for that union work. This is a union job. Go ahead, turn the checkbox on. We can default that union to the time card that we tied into the employee's record. But also, if there's any union contractors in the office here that have what we like to call union crossover, where, hey, my guys here, they're typically a part of Local 98, but for my job that I'm setting up here today, when they're working on this job, they're going to be working under our Local 38 here. They're going to be working under Local 94. We have some union crossover going on for this specific job here. Not a problem with our system. Go ahead, set up what our home union employees are involved in here and what the actual union our employees will be working under this job for in this day, week, however long. Then come over and we can select if we need specific deductions, fringes, or all deductions and fringes, or specific items to be tracked for benefits for this union job here, that's union crossover that we're experiencing. Get that set up, save. Then again, as we code time into the system, going to automate the assigning of the pay rates and the tracking of the benefits per that union contract. Go ahead and close out there and then. So back onto the main menu here. So also one thing that I will mention, those list of cost codes, task codes, if we're having employees record hours against any codes, task codes inside the system, we'll also go ahead, get those set up inside your payroll system, can bring those into the time card directly there for our employees. But back on the main menu here, once the system's then set up, hey, we're live, we're ready to start entering hours into the system here. Inside Payroll Daily, you come into enter time card screen. You go through, you can either manually enter any time cards into the system. Our team is able to set up custom time card formats of how you guys need that information laid out for the entry screen. Or again, any of those out there that are currently using a mobile time card application can create an import sequence layout for you where all your team needs to do to bring the hours into the system, you come up, you click import. We have a one-time import sequence layout that's set up for your team where all you'll simply do is you'll select browse, select where that file was saved for the time cards on your system. I click next, click finish. System will let us know if we had any errors for that payroll entry for the time. Now, once I come up then, the information here on this table, you're going to see my pay rates, my union numbers, my taxing tables are all left blank inside the system as once I come up and click OK, the system is doing the legwork for me. It's going ahead and looking at those union tables that we had set up behind the scenes for our job records. Hey, 97051, 97021, these are both union jobs for my employee here, bringing in that corresponding rate of pay per that union contract, as well as telling me what was being tied in here, pulling in those hours, then the system is doing the legwork, assigning those pay rates, and also tracking all those union benefits for us behind the scene. Close out here so that after our hours have been entered, saved inside the system here, have a number of checks, registers to see where those payroll calculations stand before we touch payroll for processing. So time card list proofing report to review how those hours are being broken out here. Pre-check registers, you can see someone who didn't receive a pay stub in this week here, or what's going on with workers' comp, what's going to be hit per our union contract here. See where everything stands before our team touches payroll for payroll processing. Once it's good to go, come over and click submit, send that copy of the database over to our team for processing. We're taking care of the rest for you as your payroll service provider there. Now, last thing that I'll show here in the system today are payroll reports. So payroll's been processed, our employees have been paid here. Time for us to then go ahead and run some reports. So inside the system, we're going to set up that workers' compensation policy to be tracked for you here. Enter the date range in. I run this report here right now, giving me a high-level overview of where I stand with that workers' comp, total hours worked, gross earnings, but what was actually exposed based on that policy, broken out on a class-by-class basis. But hey, you say, what's going on when we have an audit here? I need more detail than that when it comes to my policy. Come back over to the criteria tab, can break it down to a trade-by-trade basis, employee by earn code basis to get that more detail with what's going on when it comes to workers' comp. My operator Arthur here, 2 hours of overtime, $75 was his gross earnings, but only $50 was exposed to that workers' compensation policy. No matter what states you're working in, also if we have any OSIP, CSIP wrap-up work that we need to track, as well as for our payroll runs, be able to handle all this information, automate the tracking of that workers' comp there. Then can also PDF, Word, Excel, CSV, very easy to pull reports outside of the system here. Also, again, going to have electronic and print versions of EEO minority compliance reports here, as well as those certified payroll reports. Again, those that are working with online portal uploads for our certifieds, the California DIR, Ashtaware, EMAR, the LCP tracker here. Going to have formats that our team's staying up to date with these. If anything does change, we'll update that report format inside the system here. But for my LCP tracker example here, you come up, you put the date range in that you need their certified RAN for, where you want it to be saved on your computer. Then we're creating the XLS file upload for you. So once you click report, system's going to give us some feedback, but this looks like a little bit of a messy information here for us to view. All I do is click close. File has not been created, create file now. Click yes, creates our certified upload for us. As well as those certified payroll print formats. Hey, I have the print format I need, over 40 different agency formats that we're staying up to date for inside the system here for you as Payroll for Construction clients. Scroll through, just show some examples of what's available there. Then the one I'll show here today, that generic WH347, go ahead and run that certified report. Can even generate no work performed certifieds for us here. Go through, we'll have our jobs broken up. There's a spot for it on the certified, there's a spot for it to be tracked inside that database there. And as well as we'll still also generate that signature page for you, where all you'll do is you'll come in, run that certified report, PDF it, pull it outside the system, sign it, send it off where it needs to go. Then the last report I'll show here today, that union report for the union contractors here today. So, hey, again, I'm talking about how we're going to automate the process of tracking this union information for you. And we're going to then have that nice report that's generated for you so your team knows what you then need to pay to said union, where you come in, run that union report. It's going to then take our union and break it out and show us at first a trade by trade basis. So the first page here showing me my local 6, my foreman, who worked under that trade, who had their gross wages, deductions or fringes, total benefits tracked. Then on the next tab here, going to then have the summary of that trade. Then again, break out my second trade here. I have my apprentices located inside this union here, giving me the summary for my apprentices. Then ultimately, the bottom line here showing me where I stand per this union contract, local 6, giving me the overall calculations that were automated by the system, giving me my overall bottom line of what then we need to pay the union, PDF it, pull it outside the system, cut the check, send it off, your union has been paid. Close out there. So high-level overview of payroll for construction here today. Again, those that are in the audience here, if you want to go ahead and hold a live one-on-one conversation to get more in depth about, hey, you maybe have some specific items that go on with your payroll and how it would be handled inside the system here, more than happy to hold a live one-on-one conversation with you, hold them over the Zoom platform. But put my contact information up here again on the screen. Feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email here if anyone in the audience is interested in setting up a live one-on-one demonstration of payroll for construction. But what I'll do here is I'll open it up to any questions for my audience members here. Feel free to go ahead and throw those in the questions box here right now. Looks like we have one come over here. So we had an attendee ask, what happens if I need to cut a layoff check in the middle of a payroll run for one of my employees? So great question. Not a problem with payroll for construction here. You got that employee in your office, hey, we're laying him off here today. He needs to be paid at this point in time. Inside your payroll system, you're going to have a separate payroll cycle that you'll be able to go in, enter that one-time layoff check information, go ahead and cut that, pay that employee outside the system at that point in time. Then the next time you process the full payroll run, our team will be able to see the layoff check, get all payroll taxing information up to date inside the service. We'll be able to update that, not a problem with payroll for construction here. All right, then we had one more here. So does payroll for construction only work with one union or multi-union as we deal with a large number of unions here? So yes, not a problem with the payroll service. So again, unlimited number of unions, a limited number of union tables, benefits can all be set up and tracked inside the payroll system here. Not going to be a problem when it comes to payroll for construction, and we'll be able to set up, automate the process for your team there in the office. All right, so thanks you everyone in the audience today for attending today's webinar. Again, my name's Alex Gray here, one of the regional sales managers at Payroll for Construction. Feel free to send me an email, give me a call here at any time. Be happy to set up a live one-on-one demonstration if you are interested in setting up a time to talk in some more detail about our payroll service here. All right, well, thanks again, everyone. Everyone have a great rest of your day.